Hi, my name is Hans Hieseckers of Circuition Life Science Consultants. I believe we are at the brink of radical changes in healthcare and life sciences. To ensure that these changes are vastly improving the outcomes for patients, caregivers and even the industry, we need technology consultants and change management aiming for Life Science 4.0.
The 20th century was the era of blockbuster pharmaceuticals. Given the nature of homogeneous production in large quantities over a long period of time, the pharmaceutical industry, unsurprisingly, adopted the principles of mass production. For over a century, organization, culture, IT and resources were optimized to fulfill the rules of Pharma 2.0. As we are moving into the 21st century, we see the pharmaceutical industry is moving toward niche products, smaller products with a smaller therapeutic bandwidth that are produced in smaller batches. It requires companies to have more products in their portfolio, and this triggers a number of changes. We are moving from less product and process diversity to more product and process diversity. We're moving from larger batch sizes into smaller batch sizes, and this brings something else. We move from less changeovers to more changeovers. And these changeovers are becoming more complex. First, due to the fact that there are multiple products, and even more to the fact that these products are no longer produced in big lines, but on more modular machines, which makes more sense for small-scale production. Further, this increases the operator complexity. So where operators used to work purely on experience, they need to switch from new methodologies all the time. All of this decreases machine productivity, and it increases the number of deviations in kappa, which in themselves again increase the lead time. So how fast and successful these changeovers are becomes very relevant in this new era of Pharma 3.0 and Pharma 4.0. In this video log, we will explain an existing methodology named SMET, and we will show you how augmented reality, a 21st century technology, plays a role in this.
But Holland comes in for a pit stop. Time to refuel and change tires. The tires are changed at last. A crewman polishes the windshield as Holland moves away just 67 seconds after he stopped.
Well, you don't need to be a close observer to see that that pit stop in the mid of the 20th century was much slower than the one in the beginning of the 21st century. The Formula One team obviously prefers an uninterrupted flow, like we do in our production. But once you accept that that is impossible and that you do need changeover, you want to minimize those changeover times. There's a proven methodology for that named SMET, Single Minute Exchange of Die. SMET minimizes changeovers in 3 steps. Step 1, by doing offline or process external, the things that you don't need to do process internal. Did you notice that the mechanic on the left-hand side left the car alone to get some tooling in the garage, where all mechanics on the right-hand side were ready to go anytime and didn't have to seek for their tools anymore? Move from internal to external. Step 2 is about doing in parallel what you don't need to do sequential. And of course, parallel working requires a lot of coordination. Those people are not 10 people working in parallel independently from each other. They coordinated their work. In difference to the ones there in the 50s that were with 4 people and each working on their own without any coordination. Step 3 is about introducing new advanced technologies to further reduce the time. So from going from manual tools on the left-hand side to the air guns on the right-hand side. These new technologies bring another advantage. They help embedding this new methodology into the new way of working. Let's interview an expert on SMET.
Hi all, my name is Jennifer de Haas, pharmacist and life science 4.0 vlogger, where life science becoming life science reality. Today we are visiting the Advanced University of Applied Sciences in Den Bosch, in the Netherlands.
Hi, my name is Tom van Kollenberg. I'm Professor Improving Business at Advanced University of Applied Science. Being a professor means that I do research mainly concerning the improvement of processes and results of companies. I try to find out which helps currently as well as in the future.
First, can you tell us a little bit more about lead management?
First of all, The main thing that differentiates lean from previous ways of working or strategies is that it's about flow of processes. No stops, no waiting, no errors. Real is flow all the time. And I think there are three levels of that. The first one I call lean is mean, which means that you apply lean or use lean tools to get rid of people. The second one is lean is learn, which means that lean leads to a learning organization. I think that's very crucial at the moment also. And the third one, and I don't see many applications of that so far, is that what I call lean is green. That means we don't apply lean management only to improve productivity and reduce cost and things like that, which we see, I think 95% or so of the projects which are run today is about productivity increase or cost reduction. But lean is green means that we also look at different things like sustainability and safety of employees and things like that.
What does SMET make unique?
The basic idea is that they made a difference between internal and external activities in a changeover. And internal activities are activities where a machine, for instance, is standing still. And external are activities when a machine is still running or running again. And what you see is that when you differentiate between those activities, that the changeover immediately increases dramatically, and by dramatically I mean by things like 50% or so, simply by moving internal activities towards external activities. For instance, what you see in a normal changeover is that a fitter or a mechanic is taking off parts, but he has to go find the right tools to do so, or he brings the parts which got off the machine, he brings them to the warehouse, and the machine is standing still all the time. What you can do, of course, is do these activities while the machine is still running, or when the machine is running again. And then you can try to do more by bringing over more activities, making the more activities external, by changing things on the machine and so on. And the final step of SMET is that you try to minimize the external and the internal steps.
What do you see as bottlenecks using the SMET method nowadays?
Well, I think the SMET method, as with many improvement projects, has a big problem, and that's called standardization, which means that you try to find one way of working, the best way of working, so to speak. And what you see very rapidly, quite often, is that while there is a huge improvement, it doesn't last within months sometimes, or within weeks sometimes, I should say. You've reached a certain level, you were able to do a very fast changeover, and then after a couple of times it's eroding and time is exploding and you're back at where you were. So I think that's quite a problem. And I think, what we've also always been doing is try to improve that, for instance, by using user visualization, where you visualize what the best way of working is. And I think, you can apply it analog with stickers and so on, but of course there are more and more, very nice new technologies, like the HoloLens, for instance, which can be applied as well, and to make sure that that operators know what the right way of working is.
First of all, what is Optiworks?
Vlog3 is our first product. It's an augmented reality guidance system. But the real benefit comes with augmented reality, where you're getting basically all your work instructions when you need them, where you need them.
Can you explain something about what is it? How does it work, augmented reality?
Augmented reality means that you're basically seeing your real world around it, but we're augmenting it with information that is spatial. That means if you have, let's say, a big packaging line, 20 meters long, and you have tasks to execute, changeover, line clearance, you're being guided by the system. First step is process modeling. You're modeling the process for the let's say the changeover. This is served by our software, and then people can log in with the devices to actually execute the work. And you're being guided, similar like a GPS system in a car, with an arrow that really points you right to the spot down to 1 centimeter precision where you have to go, and there it presents you with a task what you have to execute. You're hands-free, you're wearing glasses.
So where do you think the business case lies?
We're actually seeing several approaches. One can simply be OEE. As we know, the OEE and pharma packaging cannot be the highest compared to other industry because of the complexity of the machine, and the processes and the regulations. So we are able, because the instructions are always there when you need them, there's no searching, there's no looking, there's no skipping, no forgetting, we're able to definitely increase the speed, the simple speed, by what we see from clients ranging from the lower area around the 20% all the way to 40%. We've got some numbers going up into the 50% acceleration. It could also be quality, could be the driver. We have customers who basically their idea is to make sure that the process is always followed exactly as guided per SOP. So there's no way to skip or work around.
Where does normally the engagement with Goodly start?
Usually I see technology or business being the first point of contact. Quality usually isn't necessarily the point of contact, but often very early engaged.
In summary, the change from blockbuster to niche products will cause the following things: more changeover complexity, and more operator complexity. As we can imagine, the following things will happen without countermeasures: reduced machine productivity, increased lead times, and the inventory to buffer away the poor predictability will increase. You could say that supporting the operator with augmented reality can be seen as a SMED toolset with a short-term return on investment. The takeaway message for you: augmented reality is a modern human-machine interface that helps decomplexing the operator work. To evaluate the OptiWork solution, existing SMED methodologies can be applied. Let's shape the future of life sciences together. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel Life Science 4.0.